Alright, this is from that video before with the upcoming work. This is at 454 that had the flat tappet cam failure. I can't find my piece to mount my camera, so I'm holding it. So it'll be hard to film. Like, I just put these cam bearings in down there. I couldn't hold the camera anywhere and mount it anywhere, but so I honed this block. As you can see, all the scratches, there's a little bit minor. Everything came out. So I washed it, put the cam bearings in. I don't have the camshaft for it, but I test fitted with another cam, so I know it'll go in at the bearings. Nothing wrong with the bearings. Last thing you want is to pound those in and put the crank and everything in it, and then you can't get your cam in. So that's where you put the camshaft would go in now, before the crank goes in. So now I'm going to put the crank wasn't bad. Let me pause it here. This was the crank here, cast crank. I checked all the oil holes. Everything is clear. There's no scratches. So I cleaned it. And that's ready to go in. I got my bearings here. Nothing special on the bearings. These are Engine Tech. Remain CO File Pro. So I'm going to take these out of the package. Be right back. So like I said, I can't mount this camera anywhere, so what I usually do, everybody has their own way. The ones with the groove in them go in the block, which would be in these saddles right here. And then the ones without go in the cap, which caps are over here. Those are all clean, ready to go. I used to, let me see if I can, oh, I can't do it. I would put a micrometer here and check this size for consistency on all the bearings, even though the size is stamped on the bearing. Right there, these are 20s, 20 under. That's just something I would do. I'm not going to show you that. You just put a dial indicator on here, or a micrometer, I'm sorry, and I check them all for consistency. But the stamps are all on there. You know, I've never had, well, let me see, one time in 25 years I had a bearing that was a 10, let's say, packed up with the rest were 20. Doesn't happen very, you know, I've only come across it once in 25 years. But let me wipe these. I just spray some brake clean on a paper towel or a rag. It's hard to show you because I can't hold this bearing, but I wipe this surface to get the stuff off, the dust and whatever from packing. And this is the thrust, so I wipe here, here, under here, and then I would set it in the block over there. See, so you get a little bit of stuff from wiping it. Obviously that was white, so I got 3 of them in there so far, and now I'll do the last 2. I also wipe this out too. Same thing, paper towel or rag and some brake clean. Just wipe it clean, let it dry a second. So I got the 5 in there. Now I'm going to put the remain in. I'll put a little bit of sealer, a few dabs on this surface here, and then I'll stagger it. It'll stick up a little bit, that way it won't move before I put the crank in. So I got the remain in, and you see I got it sticking up just a little bit. Yeah, this is normally all clean and everything from a fresh block, but since this is going right back together, and this was needed to be together like yesterday, you know, everybody's in a hurry, but they're not in a hurry to get it over here. So I'm going to put the crank in right now. Also put some oil on these surfaces, on the bearing, you know, just wipe it in there. I put a little bit on the seal, and then I put some of the assembly lube on the bearings also with the oil. It doesn't hurt. And then I also put some oil on there. It's kind of hard. I would start rubbing this in, but I got to hold the camera. And I'm using my oil can of 25 years broke, so I'm very upset. I got to use this frickin' thing that I don't like. It's like a superstition. It's like a baseball player, football player. I like to use my old oil can, but like I said, it broke. And then this one, you want to get some on the thrust here, and also on this side, and some in there. And you just want to gently lay your crankshaft in there. Make sure it's seated in there. You don't want to go spinning it and being crazy. Now I will get the bearings in the caps. So again, I wipe these areas out here and just start sliding the bearings in. I got 2 done. Got the other 3 right there. So I got all the bearings in this last, in the cap and the big one here, the thrust, will sometimes stick up just a little bit on each side. You just flip it over, push it flat, and it'll seat. Got the first 2 in. I put oil on here, 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 and the seal surface. And on here, where the thrust is riding, also oil that. And I'll put some this lube, Simply lube, that I showed you before. We'll just put a little dab there, some there. Can't use too much oil. It doesn't matter, so that's good. And then what you're looking, these caps from the factory have an arrow front, and these are numbered 1, 2. You can see that 2. So what you want to do is, after you oil up that, see your little bearing tang right there. Let's see if I can get it. That little thing, that notch. There's a notch on this side, no notch on that side. You can put these on the wrong way, but with the arrow and the notches lined up, you should be okay. So I got the front 4, staggered the rear seal back there. Don't forget to put a little sealer right here on both sides. So when the cap is laying flat down there, there's no chance of oil to kind of slip through here. And it's basically just put some oil on the bearing, you know, rub it like that, make sure your hands are clean. See if I can do this while see if I can drop this and screw everything up. Let's see, there's one hand here. Tangs are matched up. There you go. Now I put the bolts in.